So let's put it like that. So it's really nice to have a little chat with you, John Romita Jr. My first question would be, so you've been drawing Spider-Man in the 80s, in the 20s, and in 2020s, and you're still kicking for it, you know? And I just wonder, why are you still? Why do you still have this energy to draw Spider-Man and all these superhero characters?
It is a very simple question and a very difficult one to answer. I love what I do. I love to be an artist. Spider-Man now is very familiar to me, and I feel I have control of the character. But it's also heartfelt because of my father. And I think nothing else but that. It always reminds me of my father, and I'm familiar with the character, and it's not that it's easy, but I'm familiar enough with it that I can control more of this character than most other characters because of the familiarity. It would be the same with Daredevil. I love the Daredevil character, and drawing Daredevil more than Spider-Man, I enjoy that. And my best work I think I've ever done is with Frank Miller on Man Without Fear. But the 9/11 issue is the one issue that I will be proud to say is maybe my best work because of the horrible circumstances. With Spider-Man, I'm so familiar with it, and it's much like a sibling in my family. But it reminds me of my father, and it's very, very important to me.
Do you feel that there has been any differences when you took on Amazing Spider-Man during the last decades, or was it somehow like getting back to an old friend, or is it something very different because you also changed the writer whom you're working with?
That's another excellent question. Stories and style of storytelling changes with a new writer. That goes without saying. It's a challenge with every single writer because they want to come up with something new and different, as I do. But the leaving Marvel and coming back to it, I wanted to be back on Spider-Man again. Feels like familia.
Okay, so how do you feel the industry has evolved around the years? Is it for the better? Do you feel more? But you've always been celebrated as an artist, so I don't know if that has changed during the last few years or not.
I feel that I've changed a little bit because I've improved just with working and practicing and getting better as I progress. I think that's improved. I think the industry has changed because it's more content oriented than it is imagery and visuals. I was telling someone else that each and every comic seems to be a storyboard for a film. And that's what's in the mind of the writer and the artist now, it seems, because I think the readers need more content than just a big pinup that's vacuous. I think that's an improvement, but it makes the art more difficult because it's much more complex.
So it's never your approach when you're drawing a page? You never have like a scene from a movie that could be when you're drawing?
Always in my mind. Because I think if I were much younger, not much younger, I think I would love to try being a director in a film. Because I believe that artists and perhaps some writers all are basically directors in films. That's what we do, stop action films.
So I think that something which is quite striking in your pages is that you still adopt like a classical way of doing the pacing and the panels. You don't go for breaking the lines, the borders and stuff. Why is it like just because you're satisfied with it? You don't want to change?
That's another wonderful question. I do not want the shape of the panels to be important. I want the content of the panels to be important. So I don't think outrageous panel designs is important. I think the art and the design of inside the panels is what's important. That's a good point. Excellent question.
Okay. Well, that's my job. I'm a journalist actually, so I try not to ask bad questions.
I'm noticing that because that's important to me. That's storytelling, is the ultimate important part of these books.
But would you say that maybe sometimes you get in conflict, let's say conflict with the writer if he doesn't do the pacing like you would do? Does he know that you will always try in your style, and is he adapting to your way of pacing the page?
Yes, this is all true. The writers, when they get to work with me, will say, "We know you can tell a story very well. Don't feel restricted by what we're giving you in the script." I prefer that they give me much less and let me draw and pace the story, and then they fill the dialogue in according to the artwork. It's very true. I am also older than all the writers I work with, so I am more experienced in the storytelling, and they allow me. They give me great latitude to pace and to storytell as I see fit. As long as I don't take away from their plots. I add to it to make it more comfortable for pacing, but I let them know. And they will add dialogue, but I've never taken anything out. I've changed storytelling-wise, but nothing that would get any writer upset. Editorially, it's their story.
Okay. I also wanted to know, in terms of energy, because you're so like I said, you've been here quite a long time, and it's not an insult at all. But doing ongoing comics is still demanding a lot of energy and a lot of time. And some other artists, after 30 years in the comics, they just stop doing ongoings. But you're still doing it, and where do you take this energy from?
Ooh. Again, I love to be an artist. And I think that because it's connection to film, I'm a fan of the business still. But I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to sing, I don't know how to dance, but I love to be an artist. I'm very proud of it, and I still enjoy the job.
But let me be more precise. You could just do covers, because you know that they would still ask for covers. Every publisher would ask you covers, and you just do something more relaxing by just doing covers, but still you go for interior art.
I'm coming close to the end of my career, so to speak. Deadline work, comme on dit.
Just make it right when you got done.
Comme on dit, say, deadline work is very hard on me. Be careful, Bella. So yes, at some point I will retire from the regular deadline work, but I love to draw special projects and covers. Exactly. Have you been speaking to my wife? That's exactly what my wife says. Just do covers. Do conventions, do covers. I still enjoy, I love the storytelling. So I will do some creator-owned projects. But I think the deadline work, perhaps in a year and a half, I will turn 70 years old. I cannot believe this. And I will be in the business 50 years. And it may be time to move on to just special projects.
And speaking of special projects, we know 2025 is going to be a big year for you, because there's a reuniting with Mark Millar. What can you say about? I know that you can't tell us what it is, I guess, but what can you tell us about this whole reunion? It's the third time you get together.
Working with Mark is such a pleasure because of his honesty about what he does and his brilliance about his writing. He has great ideas, and much like Frank Miller, different spelled last name, they hand me a small amount and ask for a lot, and I love to do that. So Mark will hand me an idea, and we will develop it as we work. Character sketches, backgrounds. The best part about this new project is, I can't tell you too much, is that he gave me a lot of latitude in creating the character visually. And the storytelling aspect is the same way. He allowed me to do what I want in designing and pacing it out, much like Frank Miller. And Mark's idea is so genius. It's a film. From the inception, it became a film, and I treated it that way. So I was able to pace the story out. I finished the first issue, 52 pages, and I would have done 500 pages for this story alone. There's 2 more issues, so I still have more to work. But his ideas are so incredibly cinematic. Whether he's not an artist in any way, shape, or form, but he has visual ideas that are wonderful. And Frank Miller is very similar. Neil Gaiman is very similar in that way. They can see it visually. And when they describe it to me, they don't demand anything, they suggest.
Okay, and so there's also another project that was announced with Kurt Pyers for a distillery. So same question goes: what can you tell us without being breaking your NDA?
I have so much work to do on that yet. It's a brilliant idea, and it's got to do with a Chinese American character. And again, I have to be very careful. I can't open my mouth, but it's a wonderful project, and it's a character that is based in New York again. I love this. I'm very familiar with it, and I can draw the scenes. I feel they're very realistic because it's New York. It's my former home, where I was born. So again, there's a commonality in that the characters that I love to draw are based in reality with some fantasy added to them. I love that idea.
Okay. And speaking of these two projects, were the writer coming to you with an offer, or did it come from you? I mean, like you said, you're not far from retiring, so you got to choose carefully your projects. So how do you choose?
I think I can only do so much in a 1 year. So that's why Spider-Man at some point I will have to give up on my duties to do that, perhaps in a year. Because I enjoy these special projects which can become films. And I think this is the first time I've said that. I prefer the special projects because they can become films, and I'd like to be a part of that. Whereas with Spider-Man, I think I've done enough that I can say in a year and a half, time to only do some special Spider-Man projects.
So that was my last question, because when I saw you still doing ongoings, and now you are doing the backups from the new relaunch, and I was really thinking, like, why wouldn't you do like not a creator-owned Spider-Man, but something like
it can be something similar to what you're thinking. However, Marvel would not allow a creator-owned with Spider-Man. Perhaps Marvel would allow a creator-owned one of my ideas to be published by them. That would be difficult, but special projects may be a one time a year arc, 3 issues. It depends on what they will allow me to do. But creator-owned is very important to me right now, and that's what I'm going to eventually transition into.
And even not like if they go like, okay, John, yeah, you can choose any character that you want. You can do your special, like a three oversized issue project. You write, you take the time that you want. It can take like 4, 5 years, but you just take the time you wanted to do like your, the final Romita Jr piece at Marvel. Would you do something like that?
I would. As far as which character that I have done already, or something I haven't done.
Whichever you prefer.
I would love to do another Daredevil arc with Frank Miller. I really would. And if not, then I would love to do a Silver Surfer idea that I've always wanted to do. And I don't know who I would work with on that, but Neil Gaiman, Frank Miller, Mark Miller. But I have an idea for the Silver Surfer that I think is one of the greatest characters ever. Or the third choice would be the Black Panther with Reggie Hudlin one more time.
Oh yeah.
Loved every minute of working on that project. So yes, not so much a final, but a special project within Marvel's characters.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, John.
Wonderful questions. Excellent.
Thanks. Is it possible to take a picture?